showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
I want to welcome everybody out today to episode 236 of I Am Salt Lake podcast. My name's Chris Hollifield.
And I'm Chrissy Shelley.
We got a great show today. In this episode of the podcast, we sit down with Jonathan Gregersen from Distillery 36. He's one of the founders, owners, originators of the distillery. Fantastic story.
These guys are incredible.
They really are. They got a great story, kind of find out, some of the trials that they went through in the beginning to get the distillery up and running, and kind of a little bit about the distillery itself. I know you and I, we want to go out there and check it out.
Yeah, I really want to check it out, especially knowing the backstory.
It really is. And I mean, he's going to get into that here in this episode, find out more about them. Before we do that, though, I want to give some love to our sponsors. We've got some great sponsors of the podcast. Oleo Skin and Beard, great local company from Salt Lake City. Oleoskin.com is where you can go, find out more about the products. You can get them right there directly online and get them sent to your doorstep. I'm a big fan of the beard oils, beard washes, beard balms.
And, if you're a lady, you need to go try their kelp and clay mask.
Oh, my gosh. You do not stop talking about how awesome this product is, Chrissy.
I know. I got my daughter hooked on it. I got my sister hooked on it. It's great.
Really great products. Again, oleoskin.com is where you can go and purchase your products. I know they do a lot of the local markets right here in Salt Lake City. And they're going to actually be doing, if you're listening to this before basically this upcoming weekend, it's Friday, August 12th through Sunday, August 14th. They're going to be at Craft Lake City, along with tons of other vendors, crafters, musicians, food trucks are going to be there. A lot of people that have been on this podcast are actually going to have booths at Craft Lake City. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, me too. I know we're going to spend a lot of time there.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm really excited to introduce you, Chrissy, to a lot of people, especially previous people that have been on the podcast.
I've listened to the previous podcast, but I haven't had a chance to meet a lot of the people yet.
Yeah, so in Oleo's, like I said, Oleo's going to be there, so make sure to stop by and say hello to Derek and Jennifer and check out their products. I also want to tell you about our other sponsor, Distillery 36. Really kind of cool story behind this of how they became a sponsor. When Jonathan was on the show a few weeks ago, when we sat down and chatted with him, found out his story, we meshed so well. Both Chrissy and myself love their products.
Oh yeah, he brought us some, and he brought ginger beer and made us a little drink before we recorded, and we were just sold.
And after the interview, I sat down. I said, Jonathan, I want to bring you on as a sponsor of the podcast, and it's been history ever since. So
awesome.
Distillery36.com is the website where you can head on over there and find out about it. I know they list all the state liquor stores that they carry it in. And next time you're at this local state liquor store, pick up a bottle of the Brigham rum and
it's
check it out.
highly recommended.
Highly recommended. The official rum of I Am Salt Lake podcast. Hey, we're going to get into this interview with Jonathan here in just a second. Before we do that, I want to give a little bit of teaser here, Chrissy, about our office space.
Yes.
We got a brand new office space here for the podcast.
And we're recording for the first time in it right now.
Right now. Actually, this is the very first time that we've ever recorded here. So it might sound a little hollow. It might sound a little empty because the room is a little empty.
Yeah, we don't really have much yet.
We don't have much in here.
But it's a really fun space.
We're going to get into that after the conversation with Jonathan, though. But so make sure to stay tuned for after the interview. But I just want to give you a little bit of teaser about the office space. Anyway, enough chatting on our end. Let's jump into the conversation that we had with Jonathan Gregersen from Distillery 36. So we're sitting here drinking. We have Distillery 36 on the podcast. John Gregersen is joining us. He brought us some Brigham rum.
Yep, Brigham rum.
And I love the name of that. We have some mixed up with some ginger beer, so we're drinking a little bit. Why
And
we
it's super delicious.
it is.
Thank you.
Super delicious.
You're kind of
appreciate
a mixologist.
I wouldn't go that far. I'm kind of a one-trick pony. More
My
like
taste
it.
buds speak very differently.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, anyway, thank you very much for joining us. And
thank you for having me.
And sharing your story a little bit. Let's start off. I like to find out a little bit about your history, even for the listeners that are listening. Find out where's home. Where's home for John?
Home is a dairy farm 15 miles west of Blackfoot, Idaho. So I grew up there milking cows and farming the land.
Did anyone ever play the prank on you that tells you a cow has a star on the bottom of its teat
No.
and then squirt you in the face?
No.
Oh man,
That's
you're
a good
missing
one.
out.
I'm going to have to save that for my nieces and nephews.
You definitely need to do that to them. My uncle did it to me.
So how does it work?
You just go, did you ever know there's a star on the bottom of a cow's teat? I'll show you. Come here. And then you grab it, and as soon as they look, you squirt it in their face. It's a good time.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. I'm going to save it.
Were your parents dairy farmers then?
Yeah.
Is that kind of the story behind that?
Mom and Dad were dairy farmers. They've since sold after I moved out. Obviously, they sold the farm in Blackfoot and then bought an awesome place on the Salmon River up in Chalice area. But they did wait until I was gone, obviously, to do that.
Because they lost the help.
Yeah, I lost the help. Lost my slave labor.
Yeah, that's what kids are good for.
So growing up, I mean, was that what you wanted to be? Was a dairy farmer though?
Absolutely not.
Did you hate it? Did you hate waking up every day? I mean,
I have to be honest, I really wasn't a fan of growing up on a dairy farm. I was not I wouldn't say the stereotypical cowboy. I didn't like hunting. I didn't really like fishing. I liked skateboarding and heavy metal. And,
How did your parents, how did they feel about that?
My mom burned my albums multiple times.
It sounds like my
mom. Really?
My
Yeah.
mom was the same way.
But not like the
Yeah.
cool burning where you're making copies. The literal burning.
Yeah, the literal burning, more and more like, I mean, for the most part, she threw away my albums multiple times. So
So did you grow up in a pretty religious home then?
I did. Yeah, grew up Mormon as can be.
See, and I love finding that out because now you are making or distilling liquor.
Right.
And so it's kind of like from there to the alcohol.
Yeah.
What happened to John? Where did he, go wrong? Where did,
It was a process. No, like my upbringing, it was back and forth for me my entire life. Like since I was a young kid, I was getting in trouble, and then I would feel bad, and I would repent, and I'd become the golden child, and then I was like, screw this, I'm gonna do what I want.
Your personality just kept wanting to come out.
Yeah, and
So
finally,
weird.
finally let go of it. Actually, like after I ended up going on a mission to Kentucky.
Okay, so you did serve a mission.
I did. Yep, I did.
Was that a good experience though?
It was a great experience, and in fact, that's kind of how this all came to be as well. If it wasn't for that, I guess I wouldn't be in Salt Lake and I wouldn't have a distillery.
Well, I mean, can you share?
For sure.
Let's hear that.
So, there was a missionary out in the field. His name's Nate Champneys, and we became really good friends. And he's from here, and we served pretty much together the entire time. And it was shortly after we both got back. We got back around the same time, and I moved to Utah, and he was around, and we ended up, going to the bars and like having a good time. And he grew up with my two business partners. So he was their best friend. That's how I became affiliated with them. And this was well over a decade ago. And so Creed Law and Jensen Dobbs are my two business partners. They're both amazing, but that's how I met them. And it was through Nate. And unfortunately, like Nate passed away a few years ago in a motorcycle accident, but he brought us all together and voila, here we are. So
What a cool. So who, say your business partner's names again?
Jensen Dobbs and Creed Law.
So they've both been around really since the beginning of Distillery 36.
Yeah. Yep. Actually, it was Creed. Creed, he's been, dabbling in distilling for a long, long time. Master fabricator, master builder. He can, rebuild any engine on the planet type of guy.
Jeez,
Just
good for
one
him.
of those guys that is just really amazing at that stuff.
He's a good guy to know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And my other business partner, Jensen, we've worked together and we've been friends for many years. And then Creed just approached us, one day, and this was 3 years ago, actually, pretty close to the day we decided to go for it. He approached us and said, "Hey, why don't we just open a distillery?" Because at the time there was only, I think, High West and Ogden's Own. And right after we got our place, I think it was seriously within 2 weeks, Beehive Distillery opened and Sugar House Distillery opened.
Really?
We're like, oh no, oh well. But it's actually a good thing,
It's kind of like
industry's expanding. It's awesome.
Validation that you were on the right track.
Yeah.
You had the right idea.
Yeah, exactly. Because we were really wondering, why aren't there more distilleries out there?
And I haven't looked around a lot, but it seems like you guys are you're more rum based.
Right.
So I haven't noticed a lot of rum from the other local distilleries.
There are a few. Sugar House does have a rum. I know Outlaw has. I don't think they have a white rum. And Dented Brick is a new distillery that just opened, and they have a white rum. There is a difference though between ours and the other local rums that are around. They're all really good. Ours is 100% cane. And
Sugar
most,
cane?
Yep, 100% sugar cane. It's actually
what does that mean? What, like I don't know a lot about rum.
So our rum is made from either cane or byproduct, like molasses. Most commonly made from molasses, and that's what most of the other
Gives
distilleries.
it its color too.
Well, not through distilling.
Really?
Yeah, actually, even whiskey first comes off the still clear.
Clear?
Yeah. It's the aging process, like aging in oak and stuff like
I
that,
see.
that gives it
Okay.
its color. So, but most rums are usually a molasses-based spirit. Ours is 100% cane, which is they call it an agricole style.
Okay.
And it's just a different flavor. It's a different approach. It's a little
It is delicious as I'm
thank
sitting
you.
here.
It really
drinking.
is. Yeah. It's so good.
Cheers to that. Yeah.
Cheers indeed.
So let's. I apologize if this is kind of a kindergarten question.
It's okay.
But I'm assuming a lot of people listening might not even know what a distillery is.
Okay.
I mean, I think that might be a good question to. How would you describe a distillery? I mean, it sounds very outlawish to me. Like you're being an outlaw,
Right. It's not legal to do if you don't have a license and are under production.
Yeah.
So home brewing
technically
is
is illegal. Right.
Technically is illegal.
Unless you have all the permits.
Unless you have all the permits and then you're an operational distillery. But basically, much like brewing, it starts off kind of like brewing beer. You combine with us, we combine our sugar and water and yeast, and we let that ferment, and it turns into basically an 11% beer or wine, whatever you want to call it. And then we transfer it over into the pot, and basically you heat it up, and the vapors, the alcohol vapors, transfer through the still and get refined, and so it basically condenses all the alcohol. You get about 100 our rum comes off the still at about 160 proof. Wow. So yeah,
pretty strong stuff.
Pretty strong stuff. Yeah, exactly. So it's the process of evaporating and turning that into more of a pure alcohol. And then
Interesting.
So you have to dilute it to make it drinkable, to make it about 80 proof or 40% alcohol. And we use a combination of Rocky Mountain spring water and filtered water to do that. So,
That's
and
why
then
it's so
drinkable.
delicious.
Oh,
Fresh spring water.
Fresh spring water, yeah.
Technically, it's healthy for you, in my
Right.
opinion.
No, I tell everybody that. It's super healthy to drink, for sure.
You can get hydrated.
So the name Distillery 36. I've heard there's the story, but for listeners.
So Utah was the 36th and deciding state that voted to end prohibition. And basically our original name was Holy Spirit's Distillery, and we were kind of pushing the line on that. But there were some trademark issues going on with that. And I don't know, we were just thumbing through history books trying to come up with something cool,
Yeah.
and found out that info about Utah. Utah was the state that decided to, that was this deciding state to end prohibition. And I thought,
it's a cool name.
yeah,
It is.
thanks.
And like when you hear the story behind it, it's even cooler.
Right. I had no idea when, you're never taught that.
Oh, yeah, no. People don't talk about prohibition very often.
Right.
It's an interesting thing to actually learn about. I have a question.
Okay.
So I'm a designer by trade, and when I looked at your guys' site, I fell in love with your logo and the design on your bottles. And I just wanted to throw that out there.
Awesome.
So whoever
Thank
made
you
it,
very much.
give him a high five.
His
for
name
me.
is Sean Thomas.
Sean Thomas.
Yep, and he's a graphic designer for the city, and he's amazing.
How did you find him? What's the story? Or was there any story
I
there?
believe that he was just a mutual friend through Jensen, and we hooked up with him, and he gave us some samples of the work, and we just really loved it. We were trying to do it kind of on our own, and we had a few people kind of giving us, some ideas, and things just got a little busy with it, and so
Yeah.
we kind of had to start over. And
It's surprisingly hard work.
right,
Yeah.
it's hard to keep it simple.
It is.
almost,
It's that's the hardest.
Right.
And he did an amazing job. So
Thank you.
I would tell everyone to go at least look at these bottles.
Oh, they're cool.
If
They're
not,
cool.
buy
And-
them.
And we'll have pictures of them up at iamsaltlake.com
Mm-hmm.
with this website. And then, of course, we'll get into where you can buy it, but I'm assuming at all the liquor stores, right?
Yeah, most of the liquor stores. There are only a few in like the Salt Lake area that don't carry it. But
So,
most of the
yeah,
major liquor
go
stores have
definitely
them.
go buy some. And actually, let's back up a little bit. So when you mentioned, you kind of talked about how you met your business partners. Was doing a distill. When did it come? Like, oh, let's go into business together. Like, how did that come about?
Well, it was just like I say. We've been friends now for well over a decade, and have worked together on and off, and have been close friends for a long, long time. And it was 3 years ago. Creed kind of just approached us about, hey, I've been researching this. I've been doing this
Nerding out,
thing,
if you will.
geeking out on it, and fabricating other equipment, and I don't know. It was just kind of we're all in the construction trade, and
You were looking for an out.
kind of, yeah,
man,
absolutely,
I
just
get it.
something cool, something cool to do,
Sure.
and we decided to do it.
But what was your first thought? Like when he's like, let's do a distillery. What was your first? Did you have it?
I did, and I think it was a mixture of like, yes, let's do it, but yeah, right, maybe.
especially
Like
in
it's not
Utah,
actually
right?
gonna
Right,
happen.
right. And I think a lot of people, like, as that 3 years was going on and we were like building and working towards it, I think that was kind of like, oh, that's cool, but we'll see. You
Yeah,
know what I
exactly.
mean?
Well,
Like,
it's kind of a steep order.
right.
What did your significant others think? Did anyone have extreme opinions?
My wife was super supportive
Really?
the whole time.
That's
Yep.
so nice.
And I think
Is she still supportive?
still very, very supportive. Jamie, I love you. You're the best. Thank you so much.
And it's so important to have like a partner that supports you.
Absolutely.
If you don't have that, then it makes it a tough ride. Man.
Yeah, and I think possibly one of the reasons why I think it was a little easy for us and other people were supportive is we kept our day jobs. We're all self-funded. We
And you still have your day job.
still have our day jobs.
That's incredible for a small business.
Yeah.
Not many can say that they're self-funded.
Right.
That's a huge thing.
And with Creed, for example, we dug out our own drain systems. We built our own partitions. Creed designed the still, and we fabricated the still. Like, we built our still and our equipment. So that's, really unique. We saved ourselves probably, hundreds of thousands of dollars by doing it that way. And
That's so cool.
it's really homegrown, for sure.
That's super badass.
So,
Just go build a distillery.
Yeah. Just build it.
if you have a day job, how does it what's the life like for you? You just distill all night then? What's the processing like for that? Because doesn't that take a while to?
It does. For a long time, we were doing nights and weekends. Now things are getting to the point. I'm actually It's getting to the point where I can take a couple of extra days and start to pay myself to do like a little bit more of like the marketing and advertising, which is kind of my department. Creed is the head distiller. Jensen is kind of the business just man around the whole thing. And so yeah, nights we're working Fridays and Saturdays. So we're starting, I guess my point is it's starting to slowly even out to where we're not having to really spend our nights and weekends. It's starting to get to the point where we can take some time and
that's so
and
nice.
Breathe a little bit. So yeah.
Wow, that is 3 years of super hard work.
It really was. It was intense. It was at times just like, what are we doing?
What kept you going? I mean, I'm sure there were times in the beginning you wanted to throw the towel in, right? You wanted to quit.
Like I think what really kept us going again is the fact that, I mean, because we have our day jobs and because we're self-funded, we were able to take it at a pace that was a little bit slower, and we could kind of do it our own way, rather than borrowing $1 million and having to pay that back immediately and having that on your back to be like, oh crap, we've got to get this done now. We have to push out our product now.
It's nice.
It was just
you could
easy
take time
for us.
and make it a passion project.
Right. And that's truly what it was. It wasn't a rush project. We could have easily shortened that, time span if we wanted to. But, we were finally approved in March of 2015 to begin production and start selling, but we didn't. We wanted to perfect our recipe and really take the time to make sure that we were turning out a product that we were proud of and that we wanted. So,
what kind of obstacles were you facing in the beginning? Like what were some of the obstacles?
Money, for sure. A lot of city red tape. West Valley City hadn't had a distillery before, so they made us do quite a few things to the facility that maybe were a bit unnecessary, but
they kind of freaked out a little bit.
Right. Kind of freaked out a little bit. We had insane like fire rating requirements that we had to do, and then just overall the paperwork through the federal government is timely and pretty intense. And fortunately, like Jensen, he's really good at stuff like that and was able to
knock it out,
figure it out and do it, which is, amazing. I trust my partners, like just with everything.
You need that. You need solid partners.
For sure.
That's really cool that you were able to find two of them you guys all have such a unique skill to bring to the table.
Yeah, I'm super, super.
In your location, I don't know if we mentioned that, you're in West Valley.
Yes.
I read that. What made you choose West Valley?
Well, honestly, zoning restrictions kind of led us there. There are certain zoning restrictions that prevented us really from being in a really cool spot in Salt Lake. And then the type of facility, how much we could afford to rent, to lease, led us to this spot. We ran into it one day. It was in need of a lot of work. And we were able to get a really good price on it. And so we just decided, you know what, this is the
You just
best
DIY'd
option.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
I just love it. I love that you guys did that.
What do you give tours at all?
Absolutely.
Of your facility?
Yeah.
Because I'd love to come and see a tour.
I would love to show you around and see it.
So how can, like, if people listening, they wanted to see it, reach out or call?
Yeah. We do have a website, distillery36.com. We're on social media as Distillery36 on Facebook and on Instagram. Our contact information is online if you Google Distillery 36 and call and set up an appointment.
Sure.
I know that Jensen and Creed are there for sure every Friday and Saturday. If anybody just wanted to pop in, that would be great.
Do you do tastings at all? Or are you set up for that or not?
The rules have just changed and I'm a little unclear. I believe that it is okay now to do public tastings as long as we have a food item available. Up until just recently.
So everybody bring a granola bar, right?
We'll provide granola bars. We'll provide as many granola bars and cheese and crackers as you guys can handle.
Potlucks?
For sure. So I believe public tastings are are okay at this point.
Because I remember, I've chatted with other distilleries on the podcast, and they, this was a while back, and they were talking about kind of the laws changing and, and stuff like that.
And that has just recently happened. Up until just recently, we could provide tastings to people in the industry, like, bar and restaurant owners who are interested in purchasing the product, but public tastings have just become. And
can you purchase your product at your location then as well, directly from you?
Directly from us, certainly.
And what about merch then? I mean, like, you brought me a cool hat. Can you get merch? Do you have merch?
We've got merch at our distillery. We don't have really anything posted online yet. We're still working on, kind of building up our brand and getting it out there.
It's a cool hat. So, I mean, definitely track one of these hats down.
Your merchandise style is very skater-esque.
A little bit.
I totally dig it. So, skaters. Awesome hats.
Skaters. You old enough skaters go.
Old enough skaters.
Well, it's that old school skater.
Yeah.
But let's see here. What do you like most about what you do? What do you like most? I mean, there's got to be a few things that you like the most.
What I like most as of lately is really just feeling like a part of the city and getting to know like industry professionals and just feeling like we're a part of something, actually part of the city. Because I love Salt Lake. I'll stay here unless something drastic changes. I'll stay here for as long as I can. And so recently I would say that's been my favorite part. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, we did it, if I'm being honest with myself, because it sounded cool and it's something really cool to do. And,
absolutely.
And
so it is cool.
I like about it.
What do you like least about distilling?
Well, you got to share what you like most.
Right.
Now, what do you like least?
Now, what sucks?
What has sucked is definitely the time and hours spent, away
especially
from
having
family
day
and
jobs. It's just extra time you have to be away.
Right, exactly. So that, I mean, there isn't a whole lot about it that sucks, to be honest. I mean,
so we should become distillers, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
right on.
What about so at least, have you run into and Utah liquor laws are not the best and the easiest to work with.
Sure.
I mean, there's got to be obstacles there. Or, is it the same old played out story that we all hear all the time?
Yeah, it's all pretty similar. I don't want to talk too much trash on the DABC.
Well, of course. I mean, if they're listening, we don't want
right. Don't want to make enemies.
No, and I'm sure you don't. I'm not looking to talk garbage, but I mean, at the end of the day, they also have to know it's an obstacle.
And legislation, is ridiculous. I think we can all agree on that.
And they have to know it. They have to know what's.
And I think honestly, the actual people at the DABC, I think a lot of them are aware of it, but they are the enforcers.
Sure.
So there's the
law,
bad rap. Yeah, it's the law. Yeah. We have to enforce.
They can't change it. They just have to enforce it.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
so I mean, there were a few times where it was like, oh, come on, guys, but for the most part, the people at the DABC were really pleasant to work with. But there were a few like hiccups along the way, but mainly legislation, I would say.
If you could change something, while we're talking about liquor laws here for a second, what would you change about Utah liquor laws?
Oh my goodness!
I mean, one thing. I mean, I guess there's a ton of things.
Of things. Just the tasting thing is changing. Alcohol percentage in, beer, obviously. The Zion Curtain thing, just the ridiculous things that just don't make any sense at all. I
want to actually step back a little bit. We probably should ask this at the beginning. So you served a mission.
Yes.
You did all that.
Yes.
What was your first alcoholic drink?
My first alcoholic drink was a warm Coors Light that I stole out of my buddy's older brother's trunk of his car.
You were younger.
I probably 13,
okay.
I would say.
Okay. I was just kind of, curious, especially growing up in that.
It was a small town.
And so
not
how did you feel about that after you tried a warm, cheap beer?
I always thought beer must tastes like cream soda because it looks
Yeah.
like cream soda.
And everybody seems to love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody loves beer, and that was the worst experience of my life. It was disgusting.
It's awful.
You know? And then I think after that, it was like Mad Dog 2020 or something like that.
What about liquor?
Oh man, I can't recall that.
You
one.
blacked out so much. It's just hard to remember.
The only one I specifically remember is that warm Coors Light and just being shocked at how bad it tasted.
You do remember traumatic experiences easier. Yeah.
Exactly.
If you could go back to the current with your distillery now, if you could go back to when this started, what would you do different, if anything? Or would you do everything the same? Like, is there something you learn now?
Yeah, there are some things that I think we learned. I think, man, that is a really tough question. Like, we would know how to streamline it a little quicker.
Sure.
You know, and what we spent, some unnecessary time on, and what's really important. And it's really hard for me to go into specifics with that. So
Fair
I
enough.
apologize for that.
No, that just means you didn't have like any seriously challenging obstacles to overcome. That's a good thing.
Right. I feel like, yes, it took a long time, but I feel like things actually went really smooth, and yeah, there's really not a whole lot I would change about the experience. I'm super.
That's so great.
Any business advice you would give anybody who wants to start a business? I mean, just any business in general.
Man, I would say,
coming from John's
prepared.
mouth here, you're the guru now, right?
be prepared to not get rich quick.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the biggest obstacles or downfalls I think a lot of people see with starting their own businesses. They're just like, oh, I'm going to quit my day job. I'm going to become rich, and everything's going to be peachy keen.
Yep,
and a lot of times, really, that isn't the case.
Right.
You just end up working hard and paying for it.
Yeah, and that's exactly, what we have been doing. We're fortunate enough now, again, after 3 years, that it's paying for itself, and we're not dumping a whole bunch of our own money into it. So, I think that's a huge landmark. Just getting to the point, during the process, for myself, I would think from time to time, just getting a product made and approved, seeing it on the liquor store shelves is a huge step, and that happened. Getting into some awesome bars and restaurants and getting, some recognition. That's happening. So like these steps are
It's cool. You
are
just have like
happening.
small wins.
Small wins.
Yeah.
Having it pay for itself. Huge.
How does that make you feel
Yeah.
when you walk into a liquor store and you see it on the shelf?
Oh, super excited.
that-
I'm just
I would
so
just be
proud.
like,
Yeah.
Do you ever just
beaming.
stand there and go, see this? This is mine. I made this. I would do that.
I say that to myself a lot. Like,
You'd probably get kicked out of the liquor store if you
Right,
sat there and
right.
tried.
I don't know. I think you should try it because,
I
and
might.
let me know when
I
you
might.
do, because I want to watch it. It would be entertaining.
I will. I might
Excellent.
record a little video or something. But yeah, it's definitely we take pride in it, and it's just super exciting to just that alone. Seeing it in the liquor store is amazing for
That
us. So
That's got to be such a great sense of accomplishment.
it feels really good. Yeah, and
Do
I
you-
do spend like extra time in the liquor store just
Just
looking at our
staring
bottle.
at
Yeah, I'm
I love
dorked that
it.
way.
Do you guys? So I'm assuming it sounds like you probably don't have employees yet
No.
because you're still just crunching,
Yep.
keeping it going on
Still
in
crunching,
your spare time.
keeping it going.
Do you guys ever plan to expand and hopefully have employees?
Oh, absolutely. I think at this point, we're focusing really on getting the local, developing a local reputation.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to expand out of state really if we want to take it to the next level.
Sure.
I think we've come to that conclusion. But as of right now, we're sticking to Utah. We're trying
Have
to
you
develop this.
have you gone at it like to Idaho at all or anything?
No,
at all?
we've done some research on what it takes, and we actually, it's funny you say that, Idaho, like we do have a contact in Idaho that we're going to be meeting with here in the near
Well,
future.
I say Idaho. I mean, obviously, as we know it's so close. I mean,
Right.
you can get up
Right.
into Pocatello,
Or-
and even Boise isn't really too far.
Right. And we have to, I think we need to have distribution.
Okay.
We have to go through a distributor. And like I say, we're actually meeting with somebody.
Can you hit the road? You know, like people go on a book tour
And just pedal it yourselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Like the snake oil guys.
You know,
just
you have
a
it
cart.
out of the trunk of your
Yeah,
car. And
I
you
wish. That'd
pull
be
up into
so
a
cool.
parking lot. And
Sell
hey
that out of
guys,
the
come
truck.
over here. We got some bottles.
Or you
over
can just sneak up there and like hide one in every store, just kind of place them. And then when
Strategically
people
place
call
them.
and go, "Do you know anything about this?" Go, "I don't know. No, somebody must have really liked our stuff."
From what I understand, that's frowned upon.
Oh.
So,
Yeah. What's
All right.
what's the future like? I mean, obviously, right now you have rum.
Right.
I mean, do you plan on doing other
Yeah.
liquors, other
So-
magical concoctions?
yeah, right now, I mean, we are focusing on like getting our rum out there, but we are experimenting right now with aging, and so we've got like a few different things going, like our rum going in different barrels and aging it to see how that turns out, and so we're trying to decide what we're doing with that. But eventually, I mean, we could do gin. I mean, I want to do whiskey, but something like that just takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
The aging process is.
What is your
extensive.
5-year plan? No, I just-
Oh man, gosh, get through the first year is
Yeah.
my 5-year plan.
That's actually a great 5-year plan.
Right.
It's the most realistic one I've ever heard.
Really, we'll come up with our 5-year plan next year.
So, besides distilling, what are some of your other hobbies and interests? Like, what are some other things that you enjoy doing with all this free time you speak of?
Yeah, I love music.
Sure.
I play music.
What instruments?
I'm a drummer, but I play the bass in a band.
Nice.
And the band's name is?
It's worth fighting for. We had one show on Park City TV, and then we haven't played since. So
Oh, well, as long as you still know each other.
yeah, we
You're
still know each
considered a
other.
band, right?
Yeah, still considered a band. I think at this point.
but you do enjoy playing music and,
oh man,
and
it's my
getting
favorite.
out there.
Yeah, it's my favorite. Music is definitely.
If you could learn any instrument, what would it be?
I'm learning the guitar right now.
Okay, so like teaching it yourself, or are you taking lessons?
Taking lessons actually from his name's Elliot Seacrest. He's like big
I know Elliot.
You know Elliot?
I actually know Elliot from way back in the day.
Oh, really?
I knew him from when he lived. Maybe he doesn't want people to know this, but he
I'm
used to
sure
live
he'd be
down in
fine.
Utah County.
Yeah, the
And
God's
that's-
Revolver was like the
Yeah,
Provo band.
Yeah, man. That's because I used to live down in Utah County.
Oh, you did?
years
So
ago.
that's
and
where
so
I met my
that's-
wife. Yeah.
That's where I knew Elliot, and we ran in similar circles.
That's
so-
awesome.
Yeah.
We're actually so Distillery 36 is sponsoring like the only God's Revolver show of the year at Urban Lounge on August 13th.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Well, there you go.
shout that out.
We need to be there.
Awesome. God's
Yeah.
Revolver. They're a good band, though.
They're a really good band.
Yeah.
They're a super good band. Like all of those guys in that circle, like the metal scene right now, I'm like really into. Yeah.
And so people can, you'll probably have Distillery 36.
We'll have it there if all goes good.
I mean,
Like
rum.
Urban Lounge will hopefully like keep us stocked, and yeah, you can get it.
Do you know
right
what
there.
bars you can buy product, like off the
I
top of your head?
There are quite a few. I mean, it's okay to
Yeah.
Name
Our-
names.
Sure,
We
man.
figured.
I wouldn't have asked you, man.
Copper Common, Piper Down, Ice House. Oh man,
What, beer bar? No.
not a beer bar. We're
Or a
supposed to be in a
Bar
Bar
X, I
X, and they're supposedly ordering some from us. But Undercurrent, we did an event at Undercurrent today, actually. So, I mean, there's a bigger list. I'm
Sure.
drawing blanks, but like there,
No, that's
there's
fine.
A
I was
good
just
group
curious,
of,
like if people, we can go there and ask for it by
yeah,
name.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I just need to make a list of all the places that I need to hit for educational purposes.
absolutely
To study.
I'll think about it harder, and I'll
liquor?
put together a list for you guys. But we're really excited. The USBG guys seem to be pretty excited about our product, and they're the Bartenders Guild and some of the
awesome.
best mixologists in the state seem to be really
and
liking our product. So
Rum seems to make such a nice, smooth drink.
Right.
This you can't even really taste it.
this can be a little dangerous with the ginger beer, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it goes down pretty smooth.
it
That's for
really
sure.
does.
If you could learn one random skill, what would it be?
Oh my
Anything
goodness.
coming? I like to kind of find a little bit more out about people.
You know, I kind of wish I was more mechanically minded. If I could like rebuild an engine, I think that would be pretty cool. I just never got into it. I would like to learn like more instruments than the guitar and bass and drums and stuff like that.
Do you have another instrument that's always on your mind?
Just guitar for now.
Yeah.
You know, guitar and the drums. Yeah.
That's pretty good, though, man. I mean, I took a lot
That's
of music
amazing.
lessons when I was
Did
a
you?
kid, and nothing ever really stuck with me. I just didn't have that passion. So the fact that you still have that passion and drive.
Well, and there was a long time where I'm like late 20s, early 30s, where I thought I had to give that stuff up. I thought I had to grow up and like
That's the
wear polo
worst.
shirts and crap like that.
Yeah.
And just over the last 5 years, it's like, you know, really realizing that there's one life. You better do what you want to do. And
it's okay to be yourself.
right.
Yeah.
I grow my hair out and get tattoos and never
Damn
done it before,
straight.
right?
It's so true, though. I mean, do you think that opening this distillery and just running with it actually helped you decide to just allow yourself to be you?
Absolutely.
That is
because it was
fascinating.
still, even though like, you know, I switched gears from, you know, the church thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's still like, you know, even at 37, it's like I don't want to displease my mom and dad. You know what I mean?
totally.
Like, and it's funny.
Well,
Even
we all want to make our parents feel proud of us,
Right.
So that we're, you know,
For sure.
that they did something right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you don't want to be the family outcast,
right.
but you know,
It's not that bad if you are though, and they understand. It's like I remember telling them about the distillery and just being so nervous.
oh my gosh, how did they
Like, oh my
react?
goodness. You know, my dad was silent, and my mom was just kind of like, okay. And it was funny after, like on my drive home, after I met with them and stuff, my mom sends me this text message that says, "Oh, we have neighbors who are good members of the church, and they grow barley for cores, so I think you'll be fine." You know, that was her way of like telling me
That it's okay.
That it's okay. It was,
Yeah.
Thanks,
I love
Mom. I love the support.
I
That
love
was
how
awesome.
Mormon moms think. They're so great. They're
Yeah.
like they're so loving, and they're like, you know, I love you, and it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not super happy.
Right.
I mean, I'm in a similar situation, so it's like,
right.
you still love me though, you
Right.
know.
And we
Just
get
don't-
along, you know, they're just things we just don't talk about very
Exactly.
much.
Yeah, just avoid the topics that you don't agree on. You're fine.
Right. They still haven't seen my tattoos, so
Oh, really? Are those new?
as of a year ago, yes.
Wow.
How do you think they're going to react?
I think they probably have been tipped off by my sisters.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
We'll see how they
I've got a
have.
family reunion coming up, and you know, so
You guys-
cross my
you
fingers,
guys
guys.
gonna-
Wish me luck.
It was, you know, like with my tattoos, with my mom, she just kind of, you know, it is what it is.
And you grew up in Provo.
I grew up in Provo. I mean, none of my family's Mormon anymore. My mom's,
Okay.
but she's really big into like the born again thing. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
kind of gotten a little bit different direction.
Sure, but
But
equally as
she's
like,
not. She's still very conservative. She's kind of she to her. It's just important that I'm in her life. You know what I mean? And I think parents realize that, and they get to that point where they're just like, and I think if anybody is listening and they do have kids, just be stoked on them. You know, I think that's what's the most important.
If
Because
they're
a lot
not
of times
murdering people and getting in jail doing drugs, you did a great job.
we don't need to go that drastic.
I'm just saying.
Hold on.
Yeah, we're just. I
if
mean,
you're
we're
not hurting anyone,
well, yeah.
be happy for them.
Exactly. So, you know, I always ask this question. If somebody's visiting Salt Lake, like they have an afternoon, say somebody's listening right now, is there one or two things, hey, go check this out, a landmark, an area of town, or an activity? I don't know. Is there something?
You know,
what would
always the mountains, obviously. Just
Yeah.
get up into big little cottonwood, do some hikes, stuff like that. We have a lot of awesome restaurants. I mean, my wife and I just discovered Even Stevens sandwiches.
my gosh.
Yeah,
You
seriously.
just discovered them?
Yeah, like, our first day was last week, and you know we've been there twice since.
Okay,
so-
well-
Have you tried the breakfast sandwich yet?
no, haven't done any
Oh,
breakfast.
man.
You got to go there for Sunday brunch. They what, a $3 mimosas, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous, and then you get a breakfast sandwich. Well, that was going to be even my next question: is favorite local eating spot. So we'll get to Even Stevens.
That's
that's a
certainly
local
one of them.
eating place.
Right.
But delicious sandwiches there, man.
Oh yeah, unbelievable. I was just blown away by them. Like
Any other favorite local eating spots while we're talking local?
Like Manoli's is a really good one that just recently opened.
What was it? Manoli's.
Yeah, it's like a Greek contemporary off of 9th South and about 4th East.
Okay.
It's a little bit more expensive, small plates, but they're unbelievable. We've got a ton of them.
Yeah, man. And I'm always, even to kind of give a shout out to the local businesses here, because it all, again, everything makes full circle. You know what I mean? When one business succeeds, we all succeed really here,
Yeah. You've got like Lucky 13 who has like amazing burgers, Proper Burger that just opened.
We just drove by
awesome.
that yesterday, and I was like, Chrissy, there's Proper Burger. I want to take her there.
It's
pretty
delicious.
good burger there, man.
Yeah, but good burgers and just the atmosphere and like all of their food has been a hit for us.
Well, you'd be surprised. Like you seem like a guy that seeks out local, but you'd be surprised how many people, they still just go to like Chili's,
right?
Or Denny's or something. Nothing wrong with Denny's. Denny's has a special place, in my heart. For
like
late
when
night,
you're really hungover or late night.
Yeah. But for the most part, there's always such fantastic places to eat that are locally run. And
they're comparable in price.
Yeah.
And the food is amazing.
I need to ask you guys that question. What's your...
Oh, don't put us on the spot.
I got to.
No. This is our job.
Well, I've said this on a lot of episodes. I'm going to say it right off the bat. Zest. I'm a big fan of Zest. They're right. Yeah, I don't know if you know. They're by 200 West and 200 South.
Checked them out yet.
They're great. Even Stevens, Lucky 13, Frisch. They're really good friends of the podcast.
Nice.
Lee and Rachel.
They're vegan.
Vegan. Yeah. But then again, even Squatters. I like to go over to Squatters. They got, just for a burger and fries.
Absolutely. Red Rock. We used to hit up Red Rock a lot.
Red Rock. I don't know. They're good. They're good. They're good. Well, no, they're good. But I just to me, it's like I'd
it's
rather
just not
go.
Your favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
We used to go there.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's so many to get to. That's
I've always
the
had,
hard part.
To be fair and honest, I've kind of always haven't had the best service at Red Rock. So, I'll say that.
That is fair enough.
Well, no, and
man.
that's whatever.
Hey,
I can cut that out.
It's your podcast.
No, and then the Park Cafe.
Absolutely,
for Sunday brunch. I still think I need to take you to the Park Cafe. I haven't taken you to the Park Cafe.
Yes, you have not. I would love to go there. I'm kind of newish to the actual downtown Salt Lake, so I'm learning a lot of the local eating spots.
Well, and
we need to hit everything that has good sushi.
Yeah.
Right.
She's a sushi.
I'm a
fanatic.
sushi. Yeah,
I
sushi
love
and burgers,
sushi.
I'm great.
My wife isn't a big sushi fan, so I don't get many chances to get out.
Well, where would you go for sushi if you were going to get some sushi?
Where is it's this place on 30th. No, it's on 9th South. Gosh, it's drawing a blank.
I hear you, man. It's like you get to that.
See, and I don't know if this is a local spot. I should check, but Tsunami.
Yeah,
they have a Sugar House location in South Jordan.
Yeah, they're local.
Tsunami is I think the place that I was.
Red Ginger. I don't know if they're. Remember Red? Did you ever go to Red Ginger right off of 33rd South? I don't know if they're still in operation. I used to go there all the time.
But they changed their name.
Cheap sushi. And we used to get it. You would go there and they would just be yelling at each other all the time and stuff when you go in there and you felt really awkward, but it was so cheap. You were just like, okay, this is cheap. I'm going to get through this.
Harmon's actually has a really good sushi in their buffet, their lunch buffet. It's just California rolls, but
it's grocery store that's worth giving it a shot.
It's a local grocery store.
And Harmon's
they do an amazing job pushing local businesses within the store. This is a great place to shop.
Yeah.
I haven't had sushi from there, but I'm gonna go get it.
It's pretty good.
Do you have a go-to karaoke song? Do you karaoke at all?
I don't karaoke.
You never that one time you get out there, you've had a few too many Brigham rums, and
my wife and I have done the duet that's on Dirty Dancing?
The time of your
no
life
way.
one?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we've hit that up on some saucy nights before. Made it work.
Okay, whose idea was it?
It's hers. She's an amazing singer. Again, babe, I love you so much.
And then you just kind of go along with it. And,
Right.
and
Good man. Good husband.
Thanks.
what do you want written on your tombstone when you die?
Oh my goodness, you are pulling out some serious questions.
No, I
Thought about that before.
never thought about what you want written on your tombstone. Any words of wisdom or something, you know?
We're all gonna end up here.
I love it. You know what I mean? The first thing that comes to mind.
First thing that comes to mind, I say it. It's like we're all gonna die. I know that kind of sounds cliche, but it really helps me, live my life a little bit more day to day. Knowing that it could easily end tomorrow. I'm kind of one of those thinkers that tries to keep
man.
it here.
Absolutely.
So.
Well,
It's good motivation.
Before I'm gonna let you give all your contact. Do you have any other questions, Chrissy? Before we kind of wrap this up, I think we kind of touched base on all the notes that we kind of took.
We mostly did. I mean, is there anything specific about the city of Salt Lake that you might change if you had your druthers?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like the city. Like you're like, oh man, I wish this was
Obviously, I think the one thing that I agree with a lot of people is the worst part about Salt Lake City, and I don't know if it can be changed, is the air quality at times.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, putting maybe some more effort into really trying to solve that problem, because
until we get. I think the refineries, man, is what
Right.
causing a lot of the gunk.
right, and
Until you move them out of here, you're going to run into a lot of issues.
right.
And didn't you send me the link in China or something? They're actually building towers that suck in the bad air and actually compress it and turn it into black diamonds.
I think that was a joke.
yeah.
Link. I don't think that was real.
I
don't think that
I
was
was
real.
so
Compress the
happy
air.
about that.
I don't think that
Come
was
on,
real.
don't crush my dreams.
was
Don't crush my dreams.
That was a joke, Chris.
Free jewelry for everyone.
Dang it.
Hey,
can't-
Ruined it.
I may or may not be slightly gullible.
Okay. Fair enough.
How can people find you? You got a website?
We do have a website, distillery36.com. And like I say, you can catch us on Facebook, Distillery36, and Instagram. And go out and give it a try.
Cool, man.
Let us know what you think.
And I'll put those links. I mean, if you're jogging right now or riding in your car and you couldn't write those down, they'll be at IamSaltLake.
I just want to say, I genuinely you.
Oh yeah,
If you like to hit up the liquor store and get a few drinks once in a while, try this.
Oh, yeah.
With a mixer, it is seriously so good.
well, and you just mix
amazing
ginger
rum.
beer
Yeah,
tonight.
just
I mean,
ginger
real
beer.
simple.
Yeah,
I
really,
mean, pick
really
up
simple.
some ginger beer at the grocery store, and then pick up a bottle of the Brigham rum. And
Well, and just really quick, if
Yeah.
that's cool.
No, man.
Something to note that's a little unique. I mean, I was never like a big rum fan because I always thought of like Captain Morgan and Malibu. On its own, it's not super sweet. I actually mix it with Bloody Marys.
Okay.
Anything that I've used vodka with in the past, I like this works really well with, and also with like anything that you've.
And that's
mixed rum
amazing
with.
because I actually have avoided rum because it's so sweet.
Right.
In the past. And this it doesn't have that. It doesn't have the overbearing sugar flavor. It's
Right.
really nice.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm down. And I'm a connoisseur. By connoisseur, I mean alcoholic.
Alcohol, slightly.
You're functional alcoholic.
I don't know if that's anything to brag about, Chrissy.
Maybe.
Anyway, anything else you want to mention, John, before I let you go? Thank you again. I mean,
thank you guys very
honestly,
much. Really appreciate
I
it.
love bringing people like yourself on the podcast. Hopefully people will reach out and connect with you. And especially go try some, then reach out to John. Say, hey, I tried some of your rum.
We did. I forgot to mention.
yeah.
We did win a silver medal at the Denver International Spirits Competition, and
wow.
we just recently also found out that we won a bronze at the International Spirits Competition in London. So
No way.
Yeah,
How did
we were super
how did
stoked
they
on that.
get that far? Did you actually submit them to
yes,
those competitions?
submitted
Oh, okay.
them to the competitions, and then so
Nice.
just a little throw that out there.
No, man, that's
there's
cool,
a
man.
little bit of
That's
recognition going on with it.
absolutely. Well, what I'd like to do and then we'll end it. I'd like to, Chrissy and myself, come out for a tour
Absolutely.
sometime,
Yes.
and then maybe we'll even talk about that experience on a podcast sometime
Wonderful.
too. You know,
I really want to see these like homemade distillery
yeah,
things. I don't even know what they're called.
Stills.
Stills.
yeah, really cool experience. And anyway, we'll end it there. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys
Absolutely.
so much.
It's been awesome.
All right. Many thanks goes out to Jonathan Gregersen from Distillery 36 for coming on this episode. Head on over to iamsaltlake.com/236. It's for episode 236. All the links to connect with him are going to be right there on the website where you can connect with Distillery 36. And like we mentioned before, might I recommend picking up a bottle of Bergen rum at the state liquor store and check that and check out the rum. I mean, fantastic rum.
It's worth it.
So this past week, Chrissy, I want to jump right into this. This past week, you and I were guests on a podcast,
We were on Poorly Summarized.
episode 39.
Yeah, this is
Share with the listeners a little bit about the podcast.
so this podcast, and I love the idea of it. They take kind of like silly things that have happened in the media and on social media within the last week, and then they get together and take a comic spin on it, you know?
It really was. I mean, it was a good time. Michael sent me a couple of links. He's like, here, pick these topics to talk about. I know one of them was a guy that was busted in his car. Cops pulled him over. They saw what they thought was meth, and it was like donut
It was
crumbs.
donut glaze. Oh my god, it's amazing.
So, I mean, it was a good time. We went over there.
yeah.
Actually, last Sunday is when they recorded the podcast. I know they've actually reached out to me quite a while ago, trying to get me on the show, but they usually record at some god awful time at like 6 a.m. or something.
And who wants to do that, really?
Yeah, because the other co-host lives out in Virginia. They do it like via Skype, and so it really was kind of a beast that I wasn't that familiar with. You know, the
Right.
whole Skype thing, because so many of our interviews are done in person. Do you do much Skype? Have you done much in your? Because I know you've done a lot of
in
podcasts.
my past podcast days, I did a lot of Skype.
Really?
But it is tricky because the person on the other end has to have a decent microphone, or it can be just awful.
So it was a beast that I wasn't that familiar with. We're going to put a link for Poorly Summarized episode 39 along with the show notes for this episode at iamsaltlake.com/236. Give it a listen. Check it out. Drop Michael an email and let him know that you listen. Hey, you know, Chris and Chrissy were great people to have on your show. So, hey, with that being said, though, I want to mention this, Chrissy. There's a lot of local podcasts coming out here in Salt Lake City. A lot of people are starting up podcasts.
Yeah.
And I know I would love to go on and be a guest. If you would like to bring Chrissy and myself on the podcast, we'd love to be guests on your
We
show.
love to talk.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about anything. I mean,
Yeah.
we could talk Salt Lake City. We could talk podcast. We could talk humor, love, romance. I don't know. There's all kinds of subjects.
Whatever you're interested in talking about.
So feel free to reach out. I know when I started up I Am Salt Lake, I was intimidated sometimes to reach out to people and say, oh, they don't want to be on the show. But we'd love to. We'd love to come on your show and chat
I just
with
love
you.
to meet some of the people behind some of the new podcasts.
Well,
coming out.
I love podcasts.
Right, me
so
too.
any excuse I can get to be on a new one, I have a great time doing it.
Yeah.
So, hey, I want to talk about, so my brother Rob opened up a brand new shop in Pleasant Grove. And I know we have a lot of listeners down there in Utah County area, a lot of people at the Point of the Mountain area. He opened up a brand new shop. You can actually get your vapor supplies. I know we have some vapor, but they're not vapor smokers. I mean, it's an alternative to smoking.
Right. It's like
Vapors, I guess, are just
Yeah,
vape. They just vape.
liquid.
Yeah, liquid juice. So the name of the shop is Empire Merchandise. Their address is 328 East State Street in Pleasant Grove. They got some great e-juice there, and they got some mods and stuff like that. You and I haven't been there. I know we visited it when he was kind of in the construction phase.
Yeah, we haven't been there since.
But we
it's
haven't been
completed.
since he's opened.
Right.
So I'm not sure of all the products that they have there, but I know you tried some of the juice. I tried some of the juice.
They make a blueberry granola.
Yeah, and even if you want zero nicotine, I mean, I'm sure he's got zero nicotine juice there
I'm
as
sure.
well.
But try the blueberry granola. I haven't found anything like that anywhere else, and it was my favorite.
They're open Monday through Saturday, 1 to 9 p.m. Again, the address is 328 East State Street in Pleasant Grove. Head on in there. My brother Rob, he owns a place, so he'll take good care of you. And tell him you heard about his shop on this podcast. I think it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So just I think it's really cool when people kind of go outside their comfort zone and do something, open up their own business.
Well, it's so inspiring because you think from afar, people just magically have these things.
Yeah.
And when you can really see it and see all of the effort and the hardships they go through to finally get to a point where they can be their own boss, it's an amazing process.
And you and I have kind of watched his story, kind of watched him as he left his regular job and decided to pursue his own thing.
Yeah, which was awe-inspiring.
Which, I know he's had some different obstacles along the way, but it's a really, really cool story, and it would mean a lot to me if you guys would go and support him. We got a new iTunes review, Chrissy. I wanted to read this. I've actually meant to read it before this episode because we got it a couple weeks ago. It's from a listener of the podcast, Izzy Rock. Great guy. He actually lives in Dayton, Ohio. So it's really cool when a podcast out of Salt Lake City, we get an iTunes review from somebody out of state. But I want to read this here real quick, Chrissy. Let's see the interview. The iTunes review. It's titled "Entertaining and Informative." Chris Hollifield is a podcast fan and podcaster. He covers the goings on of the Salt Lake City area. Even though I don't live in SLC, I find this podcast a worthwhile listen. Chris is a great interviewer and keeps the podcast flowing. The show is full of heart. Now that Chrissy Shelley has joined the team to add a female voice, this podcast got even better. If you want a blueprint of how to do a local podcast, this is it. Thank you so much, Izzy.
That was awesome.
It really was. It's so great to hear from listeners of the show. A lot of times, we're just sitting here on the other side of the microphone. We know people are listening, but if you're not leaving reviews on iTunes,
we wonder if it's really making an impact.
And so head on over to iTunes, leave a review up there, because not only do we love to hear from you, it helps boost the ratings and helps get the podcast exposed to more people. And it's all around just a good time. And it takes you just a second of your time. Let's talk about the office space, actually, for just a minute. We mentioned at the beginning, we're recording this episode. Well, not the entire episode, just the intro and outro of this episode in a brand new office space recording studio for the podcast. This has actually been a dream of mine since I started this show. Bringing you on, Chrissy, you've been a little bit of a pusher.
Huge pusher.
You've kind of lighted and ignited me, so to speak.
Well, you inspire me, so I want to make stuff happen.
And that means a lot to me that I inspire somebody, that I'm doing something that inspires somebody else. Because a lot of times, I feel like I'm just sitting here on the microphone and am I making an impact?
Right.
But bringing you on the podcast has helped make that journey a little bit better. And really has been wonderful. So anyways, we got a brand new office space. It's very empty right now. It's just got a table, some microphones, our laptops in it. And that's why this might sound a little hollow. But I'm excited.
But we're working on it.
We are. You and I, we have some great ideas.
Yeah.
And
hopefully we can eventually even allow people to come and watch some recordings.
Absolutely. There's some room in here. This is a pretty big space. We want to get some couches in here and we want to do some stuff and, maybe invite some listeners in here and have them kind of be part of the experience a little bit. Because I know that's one thing I'm trying to do, Chrissy. I want to really connect more. That's kind of as we close out this year, close out 2016, is I want to connect with these listeners.
Yeah. And
not just have you, I don't want to just be the guy talking into your ear holes.
Yeah, with you're just silently listening.
I want to become part of your life because the fact that you listen to this podcast week after week, it means a lot to me. And so anyway, we got a brand new office space, studio, recording spot, whatever you want to call it. And kind of keep your eyes out. We're going to be posting pictures of that and sharing more of that whole journey with everybody. And we hope to do some Facebook Live, and we hope to do a lot more video. And
we definitely want to step up on doing more videos, maybe even videos of us recording the podcast.
Absolutely.
So it'll be really exciting.
Absolutely. Hey, before we end this episode, though, I want to tell you about another great local podcast, friends of the show, the Utah Foodie. They are talking to the best of the best in the Utah food scene. They've been around. I mean, they got probably close to 60 episodes now. I should have checked before we recorded this. But they are talking to some fantastic people here in Salt Lake City. Some great folks. Chase, really great guy, friend of the podcast. He is a great host of the show.
It's so great to listen to if you really want to get engulfed in the foodie scene in Salt Lake.
Absolutely. You can listen to them in iTunes, Stitcher Radio, however you listen to podcasts. Check them out, download them, leave them a review in iTunes as well, and go support those guys because they're doing a great job. Let's run down the contact information, though, Chrissy, how people can get a hold of us.
You can always go to iamsaltlake.com.
And you can email us as well, Chris@iamsaltlake.com.
And I'm Chrissy, KRISSIE, at iamsaltlake.com.
And find us on Twitter and Facebook. We're on all the social media outlets.
We're even on Snapchat.
We are. So feel free to reach out, connect. We'd love to get to know you a little bit better. And let's end the show out. And you guys have a great week. Thank you so much for listening. And we'll catch you again next time. Bye now.